I'm gonna present a question that I see way too often, like in the Instagram comment section and the TikTok comment section. Why does life not feel the same like it did in 2016? What changed?
Well, for us and for most people that are, active on social media, 2016 is when we were kids, right? And when you're a kid, like, what are you doing? You're running around. You don't have anything to worry about besides like, oh, did I do my school homework? Right? Like, all you're really doing is you're chilling. So it's like, obviously, life is gonna look better when you're not doing anything, when you're, just chilling, enjoying life, compared to now when we're working hard, um, both in school and actual work, and we actually have to live life as an adult and make our own decisions. Uh, you know, make sure that we are doing the right things to guide ourselves in the right pathway. And I feel like when you look back then and you look now, like there was not that much care that was needed to put in to a lot of things. Where at this point we're at now, you do have to care about, you know, the smallest of things because you're living your own life, no one's there to take care of you. I feel like 2016 was when we were kids, and any year around when we were a kid, I'm not gonna lie, is for me very carefree. No one really thinks about it, and it was just chill, nice, and it was probably the best years of our lives.
I feel like it's a transition that most people have to go through when they realize that I'm not a kid anymore. I'm becoming adult. Becoming an adult now, and it's kind of like you see the world differently through a different scope. It's kind of like the best way to describe it is a picture I've seen, and it was like showing how when you're a kid, you see everything in full color and everything's super vibrant, red, orange, yellow, super bright. But then when you're an adult, it's like your vision has changed, your perspective has changed, so that everything you see now is more dull. It's more like on a gray shade, right? So I think, like you mentioned, I think it also comes with having responsibilities and knowing that I'm not just super reliant on my parents. Like the people around me, I don't rely on them anymore. Like as an adult, you have to have your own responsibilities, and kind of knowing that is like it takes the kind of like the fun out of things. You have to actually start caring about things. You have to worry about, because you're an adult now. You have to find a job, pay the bills eventually.
I feel like I'm not gonna lie, stuff hits different when it's a memory rather than when you're living in the actual setting. For example, right? Like if I had this great day, I went to an amusement park, whatever. When I'm actually at the amusement park, sure, I'm having fun. But when I think back about that experience I had at the amusement park, I feel like everything that I remember just sounds 10 times better than it actually was. Right? Like I remember when I was a kid, when I was like 4 or 5 years old, there used to be like 30-person soccer games. Right. And back then when I was a kid, I was probably thinking, wow, these are fun. I'm playing soccer, whatever. But when I think back about it now, I'm like, I would literally do anything to go back.
I feel like this is kind of a life lesson.
Literally, yeah.
You got to take advantage of being in the moment and being present,
Mm.
because we realize it too late
Mhm.
that we could never get the same experiences that we once had.
Yeah, for
Right? And no
sure.
matter what it is, like even though your life might be better now or worse now, the experiences that you once experienced will never come back to you, right? Because each experience is its own experience, right?
Yeah, I think we you guys both make a pretty good points. Um, I think yeah, like experience, and I think it's also just responsibility because the older you get, the more you kind of understand life and what it entails. So like I think everyone can agree that there's summers between when you're like between the ages of uh 11 to maybe younger than 11 to like 14, 15, basically up until the end of high school, because the moment you leave high school is the moment that you start to realize that there's more to life than just like having fun with friends, going outside, just doing stuff. And then like I think literally the moment when you start to prioritize work and money over like making memories and just hanging out is exactly when you're like, damn, like 2016 summer was so much more fun than 2024, or at least 2023 or something like that, right? And you're like, I wonder why that is. And then I think people on social media like Instagram and then TikTok will like attribute that to like Lil Uzi for dropping certain albums, or the fact that like LeBron won a championship, or like all these like societal events that kind of make it so that, oh, that's why 2016 was such a like a better year, et cetera, et cetera. But I think in actuality, it's not the fact that like societal events make it that's more fun. I think it's just the fact that you're just getting older. So I can promise you in like 10 years when the new generation that's like younger than us, because like well, everyone that's saying 2016 was the best year is like Gen Z, right? So when Gen Alpha grows up and they're like our age, like they're like 15, which is like 2020, what, 2035, 2040, they're gonna be like, yo, 2027 was the last best year of our lives. And then we're gonna be like, what happened in 2027? Like that's a regular ass year. So I can imagine like our parents or like people who are like millennials, they'll look back and they're like 2016 was like a regular ass year. Like I don't know why you guys are like the best year. So I think it's not the fact that it's just like it's everything around you that makes it. It's the fact that you prioritize certain things and you start to understand that there's more to life than just make like having fun, goofing around, and that's why inevitably people will end up being kind of like, oh, I missed the pass and wish I go back when I was a kid and I could just play soccer all day or play basketball with my friends all day, because I know I used to also have that same mentality, and I used to grow up and always play sports or just hang out with my friends all summer, and that's changed. So I think that's a big deal. Why?
Dude, that kind of makes me like think about something. Am I tripping, or is every upcoming year of students that you see like in school, do they not look younger and behave younger than you remember you behaving in their age? Or like, I swear, like after you like we were in grade 12, right? And then when you look at the grade 12s that come now, why do they look so much younger than we did in grade 12? And then why did the grade 12s that were a few classes ahead of us look way older than us?
So I'll actually tell you an answer. Okay, so this is my answer to the question, and I'm going to talk from a psychological perspective and not a biological. I actually don't know why.
I feel like I know what you're gonna say from the psychological
Yeah, I
perspective.
actually don't know why. I couldn't tell you why exactly. Why I agree with you. Like there was a clip going around on YouTube, or like there's like it comes up every now and then where like people will look at old VHS clips from the '90s in like California high schools, and they'll see the grade 12. And they're like, yo, they look like 27-year-olds, like comparatively today. And it's very interesting how if you compare eras like decades, how the high schoolers of the old looked older than the high schoolers now. So I'll give you my perspective psychologically, and I think is genuinely, and this can be proven through if you look at the average age of kids moving out of their parents' house these days, you'll find that the average age I think went from like 18 in 1980 something, and now it's like 25, 27 today. So obviously there's a lot of factors towards that. It can be economical, social, a lot of factors. I'm not saying that people are like inherently more lazier and people are just kids, but I do think the fact that life has become much easier, like in terms of like your basic needs are going to be met. Like what I mean by easier is people will say the job market's harder, and I agree with that. But what I'm saying is in terms of your basic needs being met. So like you have enough food to live every single day, you have a bed to sleep on, your parents taking care of you. Most Gen Z kids today living in Canada and America, unless they're poor or they're living in poverty, they have all the basic necessities to live. So that means they're based like that means their life is technically easier than a kid living in like 1930, 1940, right? Which means that inherently we grow up, we mature at a much later stage than a lot of these kids. And think about it this way, right? The average 18-year-old in World War II, imagine how fast they had to mature as a young man or a young woman living in that age. They had to mature hella quick. And I'm telling you, I do believe that that actually has an impact on how you are perceived by people like around you. Like they'll look at you and go like, "Yeah, you look older." And it kind of. I'll give you a personal anecdote. So my sister got married this past February, and she's like 7 years older than me. And the thing is, but she's always been kind of kiddish. Like I love her. She's always been kind of childish in her behavior, right? I learned. I promise you, I noticed this the moment that the date that she actually got married to the guy, like my brother in law, her husband. The day after and the days following that, I look at her and I told my mom, I'm like, "Yo, she seems like more older. I don't know what it is. Like something about her aura, like how she looks, just appears more mature." And I think that's my answer to the question. I don't think it's always biological because you have a hard time proving how a kid from 1970, 1980 is going to be biologically different than a kid now. But I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that psychologically speaking, they are much more advanced, like in how they think, in their maturity, and that's why I think they look older.
So I'm not gonna lie, when you were talking, I kind of was just thinking, right? I was thinking about the maturity thing, and it makes full sense, right? If you look at like Canadians in general, a lot of them are immigrants. So when they came here, they probably had to work hard, you know, go through a lot of things at a younger age, which caused them to be more mature, and also, you know, just look older because when you're more mature, obviously you're looking older, and your aura gives off like older vibes. I don't, like we're talking about aura a lot, but like that's just the best way to describe it. You give off older vibes, right? But the way you like, this is what I was thinking when you were saying that. If each generation and each year gets like looks younger and younger and younger, my logic is like, eventually, is there going to be a reset? So is there going to be a cycle backwards? Because if every year is younger and younger based off your, you know, your analysis, right? That would technically mean that things would be easier and easier and easier to get.
Actually, don't agree. So there's a good quote. I don't know who made this quote. Sorry to interrupt you. You can finish yours.
No, go
But
ahead.
I'm going to say that there's a quote that says that. Let me think. I'm going to say, but I don't know who said it. I don't know if it's a real thing, but I've seen it all the time. It's like good men create easy times. Easy times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and hard times create good men, like strong men. So there's a cycle. I agree with you, but I don't think it's definitely get people getting maturing at a younger age. I think that, and this is me sounding defeatist and saying that, I'm saying my generation is going to fail. I don't think Gen Z is going to fail, but I am kind of concerned Generation Alpha. The one I do think that the generation after us, I'm very concerned about. I think there's a chance that their grandkids and their children might go through a tough time because the way that I'm seeing millennials parent their kids, and maybe we'll talk about this topic after this.
That's a great topic to talk about.
Yeah, we can talk about quote unquote gentle parenting, but I think that our next generation is cooked. So I think that's my answer to your question. Like I think that the hard times are coming in the next like 30, 40 years.
But then wouldn't that basically mean like if the kids of Gen Alpha, like the grandkids of Gen Alpha, are growing up under tougher times, they're gonna have to be more mature to actually live their life. Or not really more mature, but like in order to live their life, like, you know, they're gonna have to do a lot of things at a lot earlier stage. You know, for example, like pick up a job at like 14 or whatever, right? They'd basically have to be more mature, and they'd give off more mature vibes, which would make them look older, right? Isn't that like basically what I was saying? You guys get what I mean?
Like, as in, do you think that there's like like as in
No,
indefinite?
like in terms of like the cycle, right? I think there will be a cycle and it'll reset because
Oh yes, yeah. So I agree with you.
eventually.
Yeah. That is what you said. Yeah, that's true.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. Because I got a little like thrown off, and you're like,
No. I just wanted to, I guess I missed the cycle part, and I thought you meant that it indefinitely gets like younger, older and
no,
older,
no,
and
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
yeah,
no,
no, yeah. So
no,
but
no,
you're right.
no.
You're right.
Basically, I was saying is when that, you know, that threshold hits, right? It's just gonna reset because it's gonna get harder and harder and harder, right?
How much of this do you guys think is can be explained by the decreasing testosterone rate every year?
Um, I think that's a pretty like
I'm not trying like I don't think it explains all of it, but I think that because I've been, you know, kind of reading up on this, and it is like true that the testosterone levels in men are decreasing
yeah, they are. They
by
are.
like a number of
Yeah,
factors,
that's
right? Like
true. Yeah.
processed foods, microplastics, like uh
And it's funny you bring up microplastics because I think I don't know if you saw this, but it was all over Instagram like yesterday and today even. It's like scientists have found that like basically every like they were
the
looking.
sperm.
No. But so I think they were trying to do like a study, like 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 an what's the word, experiment on microplastics in human beings. They literally could not find a control group that had no microplastics in their body. So
It makes perfect
yeah,
sense.
but the thing is that I think a lot of it is a little blown out of proportion. I don't think microplastics like in general should be the biggest concern. Now, that is to say that I meant in general in your body. I'm not a biologist like a neuroscience like human, but I do listen and I do know enough to say that I think it's more concerning if it's in the testicles for a man.
For
And
sure.
let's say, for example, like in your like, let's say they deposit like I don't know in your back somewhere. It's not that concerning because it's like you're gonna always have particles in your body that are gonna be foreign to some degree. And microplastics in general, we don't know enough about them to actually say definitively whether or not they cause cancer, whether they actually cause these things. So far, we've only been able to make correlations and not causations. So I think that while it's important to underline and like highlight how they can cause effects in the human body, but I think we should be cautious to ensure that we're not like scaring people and being like, yeah, so this is why you can't ever eat like McDonald's, or this is why you can never think ever again.
Well, I think the part that it becomes super dangerous is when it starts impacting your ability to produce a regular amount of hormones,
Yeah,
right? Because
100%.
the reason why people are so worried that there's microplastics in their sperm is because that's where obviously your testosterone is like produced, and if that's being cut down by a certain amount because the material of clothes you wear, or like what you drink and eat from, plastic spoons, plastic containers, and stuff like that, pretty dangerous.
This is what I think, right? Like, well, I kind of have a question. Do you guys think it's possible to like fully get rid of microplastics?
No,
Impossible.
impossible. Yeah,
Okay,
Because
that's okay.
if you think about it, there is plastic in every
Yeah.
little part of our life. You wake up, immediately you put a plastic toothbrush in your mouth. Right? You go downstairs, you eat using a plastic fork, plastic spoon, plastic plate,
yeah.
right? And then the things you put on your face, they're
Cover a plastic container.
exactly like plastic's not bad until it enters. Well, it's kind of bad for the environment, but it's not bad until it enters the
Well,
body. It starts
this
to
is like
enter the body.
high tech futuristic stuff. It's like I know scientists are creating bacteria that can break down plastics. So, but that's for the external environment. So, like in the oceans, in landfills. But you could extrapolate those bacteria that can eat plastic, and you could say, okay, one day they can make a neutral bacteria that has no like that can cause no harm in the human body, and insert it to everyone and eats all the microplastics. But there's a caveat.
What the heck? It's
But
like a tapeworm that comes
I
into
know,
you.
but the problem is people are never gonna say yes to that because they're always gonna say, well, the bacteria can evolve and then you're cooked. So
Yeah, personally, I'm not injecting anything into my body like a bacteria to eat all my
well,
microplastics.
to be fair, a lot of vaccines are made through like viral DNA, and like you technically are inserting a dead virus. So like the concept of inserting a virus, a parasite or a bacteria into your body that has been neutralized, to insert an agent is not unheard of. And in fact, a lot of cancer treatments involve inserting a viral, like a viral agent that is neutralized into your body. So I would be all for it as so long as we've done extensive research and extensive experiments to understand that yes, okay, so that the chance of you developing a severe reaction to a neutralized bacteria into your body that can eat all the microplastics up is very very low. Um, so that's what my opinion is. So yeah, to go back to what you were saying about can you get rid of microplastics? No, but you can always reduce your intake. So like right now, my Fairlife, not sponsored, but that's a plastic bottle right here. I'm eating some Sunkist fruit snacks in a plastic wrap. And unfortunately, basically everything that you do is in plastic. But I know that a lot of companies, a lot of people are trying to reduce their plastic intake. So, for example, me personally, I try my best not to ingest things in plastic cups, plastic containers. Like even this over this past weekend, like my mom and I were cooking some chicken and everything, and then I plan to make chicken bone broth with the leftover bones. But so she put it in a container and it was plastic, and I'm like, Mom, do we have anything on the plastic? It's like even the microplastics get into me too, and I'm like, bro, if I can help it, I'm gonna try and prevent myself from using plastic. So yeah, no, you can never get rid of plastic completely in your life, but you can try and take steps to ensure that you're not, you can reduce the plastic intake in your life.
So do you guys think that paper straws could be like, are they good? Would you say paper straws are good?
And
I hate paper straws.
Yeah, no.
That's why I'm saying this, right? Like I would rather have plastic straws than paper straws.
Yeah, no, paper straws are terrible.
Well, I
That's
think
fine.
the question is what's better for the environment, right? Because obviously, as people who are consuming, like we hate, like the reason why I hate the paper straw is because when you're trying to, when you get the straw in the
Mm.
wrapper and you just punch it down to open it up, and it doesn't. When you do that with a plastic straw, it opens right away.
Yep.
But then when you do it with a paper straw, it doesn't.
Like
It's
if
so
you-
frustrating. I'm
yeah.
just constantly hitting it
Have you
down
gotten
to open
boba
it.
with a paper straw and you
Oh
try
my
like
god!
poking it and then
Like
it just messes up?
horrible.
Okay, so this is my logic, right? I feel like there's a lot of things you can make into paper, or like from plastic to paper, right? You could convert, or not even just paper. You could increase the amount of like glass containers, for example, that you sell, or like what the government could do is they could put more money into like glass funds, make it cheaper for us so that we actually buy more glass,
Yeah, for
and
sure.
less plastic, right? But like certain things, and I'm not gonna lie, I think straws for me, like you have to have them as
Yeah,
plastic.
I think it's more picking your battles, right? So
Yeah.
plastic waste is like plastic bags being taken away. That's fine.
Mm.
Though I will say, there's moments where I go to Walmart because in Canada, Walmart they since last year in April or even before that they took away all plastic bags in the checkout. So you can only you bring your own bags or buy the paper bags at Walmart. Um, it's done a good job in like reducing a bunch because like before I used to see plastic bags around Walmart all the time, and now you don't see it anywhere, which is great. Only thing is sometimes when I forget to bring like my reusable bag, like the Walmart bags that I like, just have a ton in my house now, bro. When I buy like more than like 5 things and one happens to be like a case of diet soda, oh my gosh, it's the most literally the other day I went to go buy like a can of diet ginger ale and then like some beans and like some I think some cucumbers and stuff like that. Bro, I was literally dropping that everywhere, and like a bunch of these employees are like, "Yo, do you want a card?" And I'm like, if I say yes, I'm like a bitch, so I'm gonna say no. I don't want a card. And then I had to like struggle putting in my car. So yeah, I mean, like, there's always negatives and positives to taking away plastic stuff. But I think to your point, plastic straws are small and they're not that significant compared to a plastic bag. Like, and they always bring turtles. I mean, plastic straws can't harm turtles, but a plastic bag is way more dangerous because they look like jellyfish and they eat that and they die, right? So I think, and also, I know a lot of people who are not able-bodied. So a lot of people in the disabled community were like talking about how a lot of people who have trouble with their motor skills in their hand have to use a plastic straw because it's more durable and it's more what's the word I'm looking for? Like it's more rigid, right? So a paper straw is a lot more flimsy, and a lot of people have to use straws in order to be able to drink water because they physically can't pick a cup of water or like any kind of drink. So I think that's why.
I love when the paper straw starts to melt in your drink.
Oh, that ruins the taste too, and that's the worst part. So that's why I'm saying, like, in terms of picking our battles, like I think genuinely we can take away plastic bags, but keep plastic straws. Like I know people are like, but we're just doing the wrong thing. So I'm just like, okay, here's the funny part, right? So why do we get a cardboard cup and we took away the plastic straw, but now we have a plastic cover on the top? I would rather you keep I'd rather us make the cup so we put on top of the soft drink cups we get from like fast food places. Make that paper and then make the actual straw plastic because like clearly we have one thing that is plastic and one thing that's paper. So why don't we swap the two, right? If we're gonna keep one paper indefinitely, one plastic indefinitely, why don't we swap the cover for the lids, make those lids paper, and make the freaking straws plastic? It's the same amount of density anyway, right?
You know what else is? I feel like a drink having a paper straw is always gonna get like soggy or like stuff like that. Let's say that these paper straws, get rid of them, make them plastic, and instead when they serve, for example, like a bowl or like certain things, they put it in like a cardboard container, right? So like let's say like the McDonald's like Big Macs or whatever, right? Instead of having those paper straws, right? What if they got rid of the paper? Do they have paper straws, right?
Yeah.
They have paper straws now.
But Subway's bringing back the plastic straws, I think. Like, they already have.
If they were to go back to the plastic straws, they could put their Big Macs or like their McChickens, whatever they put in those containers into like a cardboard box, right? Instead, or
I think they do put it in a
oh, is it in
cardboard box.
paper? It is
Yeah.
cardboard, right?
Yeah, it's paper.
Okay, but like there are businesses that do use plastic to cover up their stuff, right?
But you guys
So
get
it's
the
like-
point.
Yeah,
We're trying to
literally.
save the
Yeah.
turtles here, the
We-
elephants,
we
all
care
the
about the environment.
trees. We care about the environment. We're super.
But we also care about plastic straws.
Yeah, it's just the one thing that we want that's plastic is
We're
because
all feminists here too.
Yeah, and we're all 6'4". We have Lamborghinis. We drive Aventadors.
Super nonchalant.
Yeah, like we have aura. Actually, me saying that has lost me aura, so my bad.
So if you were to box one rapper, who would it be?
If I were to box one rapper, it would be 42 Doug.
42.
And why? Why?
Cause like he's 4'2", and like listen, I don't.
Is he actually 4'2"?
No, he's like 5'1", I think, but he's small. He's very small.
So him and Little Uzi are like little Uzi.
No, but like Lil Uzi's like, hey, listen, like the
He's
thing
like
is,
5'4", I
he's
think.
like 5'4", 5'5", but like he has a dog in him. Like I can tell, like that guy, like even though maybe you can take him down on the ground, but he put up a hell of a fight. Like I don't think he's a weak guy at all. Like maybe I'm glazing, but like I've seen him in like videos and stuff. He's pretty decent too. Like I think he gained a lot of muscle the last couple of years. So I'm like, that's like he's tiny as hell, but I don't want to mess with Lil Uzi. But 42 to Doug's one. I think only problem is right. Like some of these rappers find us out and they hear us out. Yeah, we take you in a fight. I should preface it like, if you're a rapper that we named and happens to see this video, we don't actually like, just like you were just saying, we're just having fun. That being said, I think I'd take 42 Doug. I would take Lil Baby. I would take I think those are good two picks. You guys can
I feel like
decide.
most of the rappers though are pretty scrawny and like skinny because they know that they keep a Glock on them, so
Yeah,
they're not
yeah,
really
yeah.
scared. Otherwise, if I'm picking
You
one of
take
the
Kendrick Lamar in a fight.
No, but it's like a boxing match. So like, there's no weapons, no nothing.
sure
It's like straight
boxing
hands.
match, I'm probably doing Lil TJ
Why?
just because I hate the way he's
Oh
always
yeah, yeah,
moaning
yeah. I'm
on
not gonna lie, with
camera.
TJ, like no disrespect, but like
He just moans too
your
much.
voice is just so weird. I'm not gonna lie.
He does have some bangers, but like
Yeah, you have some nice
he's just
bangers.
always moaning.
But I think women probably enjoy his tracks.
Yeah, and
Probably.
that's fact because literally everyone that I see bumping Lil TJ happen to be brown girls.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you're a whole dude though, you're a grown man, go to a Lil TJ concert, just like you're crying listening to his voice. Just
Hmm.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Okay.
But then you could say the same thing for a guy who goes to Drake concerts, is like tearing up listening to his voice. What do you guys think about that?
BBL,
Can we
just-
talk about how we have a whole generation of grown men above the age of 20 years old
Not even
that
20, like 18. Grown ass man at that point.
that go to concerts like this? It's cool that you like the music, but I've seen videos, bro, of grown ass dudes in the audience of a concert, their favorite rapper, and it's like they're tearing up, bro, listening to a rapper. Like, I don't get off your knees. Like, I don't understand.
I mean, to be fair, I went to a Travis Scott concert and then the Toronto one in January, and like I was very hyped, but yeah, I wasn't like teary eyed and like crying and stuff like that. Like I was hyped, but the thing is, like, Travis Scott makes rager like hype music, like you get pumped up and stuff like that. And I was doing that with my boy Isaiah. And we had fun and then in that concert. So I was like, but I get your point. Like I think the bigger picture, and I'll extrapolate what you just said. The bigger picture is like obsession with celebrities. It needs to stop.
It disgusts me.
Yeah,
It
I think
absolutely
it's all of
disgusts
us
me.
because we're
Like, honestly, it's cool if people have a passion. Like, it's cool if you love a certain rapper's voice or you like their style. If you like Drake, there's no issue with that. But the issue comes when people absolutely obsess over a celebrity. Like, it comes to the point where you walk into a dude's room and he's got a Drake poster above his bed, and every morning, every night before he sleeps, he looks at that. When he wakes up, he looks at it. He goes outside. He gets the heart,
heart,
in his
yeah.
head, cut in his
The
head
heart.
because he thinks he's a Drake, bro. Like, it's just the celebrity obsession is super weird. It's cringe, and it's like guys do it and girls do it nonstop too, right? Like, you have all in our generation, especially, you have all these girls looking up to Kim Kardashian. What did Kim Kardashian
Oh, I think
do?
it's more-
Why are you looking up to her?
It's more Kylie Jenner, but like yeah,
Kim
same
Kardashian
thing,
and Kylie
same
Jenner.
thing, yeah.
Why the hell is Kylie Jenner? You know what? But Kylie Jenner has made a decent amount of money on her brand. So has Kim Kardashian. Respect to that. You've worked hard. Like, it makes absolutely no sense why you have a bunch of girls whose role model is Kylie Jenner or role model is Kim Kardashian. Like, I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah,
No hate to them, but like, I don't know.
yeah. I think it just comes down to celebrity worship, and I think I remember talking to one of my friends who's like pretty deep into her psychology degree. So and like I was saying, like I think you look at social media, you'll find and like so we'll talk about so like what I'll do is I'll talk about the male perspective because we're all guys and I think that's the best I can say. You'll find like a lot of people will like I don't know if you remember, but like November to like no November March this year, April, like you'll see all these Paulo Atreides edits on TikTok. You see tons of that stuff, right? And then
The Dune edits.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And then the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, you have like that the freaking the ape who is like, what a wonderful day, that guy. And then you have basically point is a lot of us guys, we kind of attach ourselves to like these polarizing, very well spoken men who have very good leadership qualities. And again, regardless of how what you think entertained, whether or not he's done heinous stuff, point is that we can all agree he has very good leadership qualities because he's very well spoken. He has charisma and like
He's very smart.
yeah,
He's got values. He's got morals. You know.
yeah. And then he has his beliefs. And but the thing is, in terms of his speaking qualities, he's very well spoken. The point is that I think as men, we kind of look at role models, like celebrities included, and also like figures in media and stuff like that, and we're like, oh, I'm him, and like, but when we say I'm him, is that we want to be who they are. So all of our inadequacies, all of the things that we think that we can't do. Like for example, if I say, oh, I'm like for all the Jujutsu Kaisen fans, a lot of guys now are like I'm Toji, because Toji's like a 6'2" tall, buff Japanese guy who has like a good, nice voice. So and again, it's all these qualities I just listed. There's a lot of guys are insecure about that. Like they're insecure about their height, they're insecure about how they look, like how big they are muscle wise. And
Yeah. Okay, sorry to stop you there, but like above the age of 14, like after you turn a certain age, it's kind of like it's cool to like kind of like look up to someone and like you respect them. It's like a real recognized real maybe type of situation, but it's after a certain age it gets kind of weird where dudes will be like I'm literally him. I'm literally him. They'll
yeah,
like kind of like try to copy and replicate somebody else's total identity. You got to be your own person, man. Like there's already the way I think of it is, I kind of used to be a person who was like, I want to like copy and take after people who I look up to, right? But I kind of started to realize that if you already have so and so, you don't need another one, right?
yeah,
People like you for the way that you are, and you don't need to change yourself and try to be like somebody else because
yeah,
they're super popular and stuff. People would like you if you became the best version of yourself, right? So I just think it's like it's kind of weird after a certain age to say that I want to be like a fictional character because
yeah. And I'll let you go, Rajeev, and I'll just make one last point, and then you can go. So what I'll say is, the end of your point, I think what people should do instead of like saying I'm this guy or I'm that guy, is just to say that when you feel yourself admiring somebody, whether it be an anime character, a person in the media, like an Andrew Tate, or like anybody that you think that you want to be like, right? Ask yourself like, why do I feel such an attraction towards what this guy is or who this guy represents? Ask yourself that question and be like, is it the way he talks? Is it how much money he has? Is it how he looks? Is it how he dresses? And then if you figure out why you like that person, you can now tell yourself, okay, well, it's always okay to improve yourself, like who you are financially, emotionally, physically. It's always good to do that, but it should come from a place of like, oh, I see someone that I want to be like, but instead of just trying to be that person, like be yourself. Like you can emulate that person's actions to a certain degree, but you should come from a place of that person is a role model, and how he acts is how I want to act. But again, I don't want to just be him. Like whoever, like I don't want to be like a talking box of whatever that person is. I want to be my own person and ensure that whatever they are, I want to emulate in myself, and that's the important part, right? So if you're someone that looks at people and thinks that they're them, just ask yourself, what is it about them that I feel attracted to, and then you can go and put all that work in to try and be that kind of person. So
Like, again, I don't think any of us think there's anything wrong with, being a fan of a certain person. Sure, be a fan, look up to someone, no matter who it is, right? I'm sure people look at Andrew Tate and they're like, what's wrong with this guy, right? Like, some of his values are dumb, some of his takes don't make sense, right? But then there's people who do, right? And the thing is, you can't really look at a certain celebrity and be like, it's wrong to support them. There's always different views of different people, right? And I feel like if you look up to a celebrity, there's a reason behind it, right? Whether it's because they're good looking, whether it's, how they speak, what they do, what they support, whatnot, right? Like you're always gonna look up, like if someone looks up to someone, I would say there's nothing wrong with it because that's just the way that they were taught or they were rose to like believe in certain things, right? And like Mohammed mentioned, right? Kylie Jenner, right? Or Kim Kardashian, why do people look up to her? I would kind of disagree with the idea of it being a wrong thing, right? I don't think it's wrong to look up to Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian. I think the point where it gets wrong is when it's like you're obsessed, right? And it's like, why are you obsessed with this person? And like, what causes you to be obsessed with a certain person to a point where you yourself want to be like that person? And when you were saying, right, like be the best version of yourself, I think obviously if you're looking up to a celebrity for a reason, take certain things that they do, right? It's not wrong to, let's say, for example, there's LeBron James who built schools, right, in different countries, right? That type of motivation you could take away. You could be like, oh, he's hardworking and he's helping, right? He's helping people around the world. So what you could do is you could find your own way of being hardworking, your own way of making money, so that you can make a difference in the world as well, right? And I think the thing that bothers us as like all three of us, I'm gonna speak for all three of us, right? Is like when someone looks at a celebrity and they're like, I want to be exactly like that person, right? When it's like, for example, I look at Drake, like your example was, right? I'm gonna get his cut, I'm gonna start rapping, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, make songs with his beats, whatever. I think at that point it's like you're just being a follower and you're trying to live someone else's life and just recreate it. It's never gonna happen, right? If Drake's done something good, like he has, right? For example, I'm pretty sure in God's plan, right? He went around giving
Yeah,
people
Miami.
money,
Yeah, he went on
right? He went
Miami.
around giving people money, right?
But
Again,
then he
if
took
you,
it back after the video was done. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
but yeah, like he did that, right? And if you take that information and you're like, okay, you know what, he did that. How am I gonna do that in my own way? I think that's perfectly okay, right?
Let me correct myself here. Kylie Jenner and Kim Kardashian have both made an insane amount of money, right? And they both have their own businesses. They're businesswomen. Respect to them for that. The point when it becomes a problem is that you have all these 15 and 16-year-old girls looking up to Kylie Jenner and Kim
Their
Kardashian
body, right?
because they have all this plastic on their body and they've dated the most athletes
No, that's
and
fair. That's fair.
you know
And rappers and stuff like that.
and that's
Yeah.
what I feel like a lot of people know them as, right? If you go around and asking like the girls who look up to them, I feel like a large portion of them wouldn't even know that they've made
Like
a lot of
why?
money off of their
Yeah,
business, right?
yeah.
They just like them because they're kind of like a Division 1 thought.
Okay, so yeah, that was pretty funny, but I think a lot of, and listen, we can't speak for women because we're not women, but what I find is that to go back on my point on how we like as men kind of see. So for example, right, and this is maybe making a generalization, and I shouldn't do that, but I will say it anyway. If you look at someone like Goku, right, and Goku's like a character that's like so like loved, like everyone knows this guy, right? And we all look at him and like, oh yeah, I want to be Goku. And I think like all of us deep down as kids when we were younger, as men, like boys, are like, oh, I want to be like Goku, right? Whereas I think girls, they don't do that. They don't project themselves. Sorry, they don't look at someone and think like they want to be that person because they're not there yet, right? I think girls tend to relate to characters in movies and TV shows and even people in the media as relatable like to where they are right now. So for example, a lot of girls like rom-com movies. Like every girl I've spoken to, like as a diehard fan of all these like Western rom-com movies, right? And I can see the appeal because I remember I used to watch a couple of them with my ex-girlfriend, and I see the appeal. I see why girls tend to enjoy that stuff. I think it's because the heroine, the lead female actress in most of those movies, they tend to exhibit qualities and get into situations where they would kind of fantasize about, or they can see themselves also doing that, and it's like, oh, that's super interesting, and that's like something that I guess that's, listen, I'm just talking about what I think the female psyche is experiencing at that time. So that's why I think it's really interesting that I think a lot of these girls look at Kim Kardashian and Kylie Jenner, for example, as like, oh, like how they act, or how they move in society and how they look physically is like, oh, I want to be that, or I see myself in that person, and like that's why they're so relatable to me. That's why I love them so much. And it's like I think that to a certain extent, if you really focus on the good qualities of someone like a Kim Kardashian or a Kylie Jenner, you'll see they're very hardworking. They're very good with their money, and they are like they have a good work ethic. And those
It's just
qualities
that people look up to them for the
for the
wrong
wrong reasons. And,
reasons.
and and again, we're not singling out women. Men do it all the time, and we just talked about how
For
we
sure, for sure.
yeah, yeah,
Like you can't even say that men don't do the same thing
we do
because
it worse.
you
I
have a
mean,
whole community of young men, especially from the ages of 14 to 16, maybe even like 18 years old, who, look up to guys for the absolute wrong reasons,
Yep.
like guys like what's that guy's name? Myron from the Fit podcast or Fresh
Yeah.
Fit?
Myron and Fresh and Fit. Yeah, Myron. Yeah.
Like he's a cool guy. He's kind of like, I think he's chill. He's kind of like Andrew Tate too, and guys who look up to Andrew Tate
Yeah.
as
Same
well. But
audience. Yeah.
but then he kind of says a lot of stupid things too, right?
Yeah.
He'll have a bunch of girls sitting at his table, and he'll say like sometimes like a lot of things he says is good, but then he'll say stupid things. And then you'll have
And the
guys who will
stupid
be like, "That's
quotes.
so facts." Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
repost that. Like he's slandering women. He's being a misogynist. That's super cool. Same with Andrew Tate. When he says like because Andrew Tate says a lot of stupid things so that he gets publicity.
Yeah.
I
Of
don't think
course.
people know that
Yeah. Yeah.
when he says a lot of things, he's just trying to like
Get clicks.
get clicks
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
get views and stuff like that. But I don't think he genuinely means it.
Yeah.
But
Most people don't.
you got a lot of boys who will be like, "That's so facts. I'm
Yeah.
gonna repost that." When like that's not what they're really trying to communicate
And again,
here.
I think this conversation we're having right now is the bigger topic is the divide in between genders, like men and women right now in this day and age is like it's super divided. Like a lot of strife between the sexes right now, and I think that's a lot of it has to do with what you just said, which is like a lot of men harbor some resentment towards women for a host of reasons, like especially men nowadays, like in our age group, because they tend to be very lonely. A lot of men don't have much experience talking with women, and I think what happens is when you are so used to talking with just men for that long, and you tend to forget and realize that women are people too. Like you people look at women now on media as like Instagram thoughts, OnlyFans girls. It's like they exist, but I think that we as men should realize and we should do our part in saying like a lot of these guys have some very like weird and very harmful like views on women in general, like you just said, like thinking that all women are thoughts and like they have no feelings and emotions, and like for example like just basically turning them into like a caricature of what you think modern day women are. And it's like I'm not saying that modern day women have no problems, but we all have problems. I think it's much better to focus on the problems that we can fix rather than going around and trying to fix problems for someone else. Like Dr. Jordan Peterson said, I know it's a controversial thing, but I'll quote him right now. He always says, and I think in terms of personal development, he's amazing. And I'll quote this again. You should always strive to fix your own house and fix your own room and fix your own home before you try to fix someone else's home. And that applies here. It's like, listen, you can see all these negative things with that women at large do, like our generation does at large, and be like, that's horrible. They're sexualizing themselves and stuff like that. And that's fine. But if you're gonna harp on that point for the rest of your life and you have that view, it's like, why do you focus on that rather than trying to focus on, okay, how can I improve my social skills? How can I improve my financial status or how I speak to women in order so that I don't have to deal with that consequence? Because if you improve yourself to that point, you can circumvent having to deal with those kinds of women, quote unquote, and also to a point that not every woman is like that. So I think that's what we should be just like focusing on, and a lot of men like us, we should be speaking on and saying like it's much better for you to focus on the problems that you can fix for yourself rather than trying to focus on other people's problems and saying, hey, you're a thought, oh, you're a bad person, you're a monster, et cetera, et cetera. So
I think honestly, like it's very inevitable to like to have you know celebrities or media in general not negatively impact you in some way, right? I think no matter like I think media is very dangerous. That's the first thing I'm going to say, right? And the example I'm going to use to support this, right, is like you were talking about the rom-coms, right? And I was like, why do like women in specific like rom-com so much? Because the female or the actress is very relatable to things that this the viewer or that woman watching the rom-com would do, right? And here's why I think it's dangerous, because if media is painting a picture of what certain things should be like in a specific person's head, then I feel like expectations increase, right, on certain things. And again, in this example, it would be like, for example, if this woman were to, look for a guy, right, she'd want to see the qualities of a movie character.
Ryan Gosling,
Yeah, like a movie Ryan Gosling. Because here's the
not
thing.
even the real one yet.
Yeah, he's not himself in the movie. He's playing a character, right?
And
And it's like not even just women, right? Like men
Yeah,
want to
of
see
course, 100%,
qualities of
100%.
women as well, right? From movies, right? But the thing is, you're never gonna get that, right? It's not always gonna be a movie. Your relationships or your life in general is never gonna be a movie. And I think media is so dangerous because it paints that negative picture in our head.
False reality.
Yeah, literally that false reality. And I think honestly, like it's a big topic, right? If we want to talk about it, you could honestly talk about it for a very
For
long time.
hours, yeah, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for a very long time because it's very big. And I think all of us could name you shows or a movie or a celebrity that, you know, that's painted a picture in our head as well. And it's, I think, especially in our generations, right, it's more common to see, but I think in everyone in general, you're going to see it, right? You're going to see that, you know, that, oh, I want this type of life. I want like, have you guys ever heard, I want, I want like the man from this movie, right? Like that's the type of guy I want. Well, like that's literally like you're trying to paint yourself an ideal man. It's like I want that guy, and since I've seen him in the movie, I'm not gonna settle for less.
But do you deserve him?
And yeah, I think a
That's a
lot of
different
Yeah,
yeah, a
chapter
lot of
as
yeah,
people,
well.
literally,
and I
yeah,
think both men and women have to admit themselves that a lot, like women have a lot of unrealistic expectations of the guy they want, and men also have some crazy standards for who they want.
literally,
It's like, listen, I think the biggest advice I'm gonna say in terms of like that part of like your happiness, relationships, is I think people need to be okay with like just being like comfortable with like just existing. I think a lot of these things that we're talking about, like rom com movies and just media in general, like you expect relationships to be exciting, thrilling, like sparks flying everywhere all the time. Like oh, every weekend you guys are gonna go out on a date, like the harbor, or you guys are gonna go paddleboarding one day and go on vacation. It's like, bro, like that is not what, like, a matter of fact, it's like probably what 10% of that is, if not less, maybe a bit more than that. I don't know. It's like the majority of your time is gonna be spent either like walking to the store, maybe at home cooking food, at home watching movies, maybe taking care of a kid. It's like if you can't knock like lock down that 80 to 90% of what a married or relationship life is, which is those things, if you can't lock that down, which is what the reality is, because again, no movie, no media is ever going to show you the mundane day-to-day life of like cooking together, cleaning stuff, arguments. They're never going to show you that because it's just boring. No one, but that's how life is, right? That's what most relationships are. And I think if we kind of realize like, yo, that's what most relationships are, and I think if we're able to understand that, you know what, I'm going to pick a partner that I'm okay just being next to and being comfortable in their presence for an indefinite period of time. If you're okay with that kind of person, I promise you, you're probably going to be happier than most, even the Instagram couples you see all over your feed. I promise you're probably going to be happier than them because, again, they're doing that content for clicks and they're showing a very niche part of their life, which is like vacations or cute, very expensive dates. Those are just niche parts of a relationship, and most people won't even get to experience that. So, if I think we should be striving towards realistic, grounded relationship advice, which is like your partner doesn't have to be the hottest girl, hottest guy in the world. You don't have like for women, your partner doesn't have to always be over 6 foot tall, like super jack or super like, you know, like a certain type of look or have a lot of money. It's like your man should just be able to make you happy for who they are, and he should be able to make you happy just by existing. Like you should be comfortable just being around him. And if he provides you that peace and comfort, that's the kind of guy you should be going for, not the like the model media looking guys that, you know, that were portrayed to. And even as guys for women, you don't have to be chasing like a Megan Fox or a, you know, like what's that thing, Madison Beer type of looking women. Like we can, like, I'm not saying settle for less, but I'm saying like that's a very 0.001% of women. Like you're probably not gonna get that in your life.
It's not always reality.
Yeah, it's not reality at all.
What do you guys think about the people who say that my man must be over 6 feet?
I think no, I think the height preference is actually fine, to a certain extent, because sometimes like woman's like 4'11", and you're like, oh my guy gotta be 6'3". It's like, bro, like why? Because I think a lot, I think like deep down, a lot of women have like a domination kink. It's like if you're like a tallish
I
girl,
don't even think it's a kink. I think it's just a reality that, like, like a woman wants a man that's gonna be able to protect you, right? It's
yeah,
not weird to say that.
yeah,
no, true,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm not saying it's a weird preference. I'm saying that at its extreme is when it becomes a domination kink. Because it's like if you're a very small girl, right? Like, be honest, you why is your requirement does the guy has to be like in the top 10% of heights? Like why? Like because you're like in the bottom 20% of heights
Do
for
you think it's
women.
fair to say that as a response that if you're looking for a guy that's 6 feet and above, who makes more than 100K a year, then you have to have a quality that matches that.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, okay, well, that requires self reflection. Unfortunately, a lot of people, men and women, don't have that, and that's like, yeah, if you have high expectations, you better be able to freaking like provide those for your partner. It's like if you want a high value man, or if you want a very attractive, very well spoken, smart woman, you better be able to like match that. Because like if you're just a guy who plays games in his parents' basement, no offense, you're like 25 years old and you have nothing going for you, what makes you think um Cassidy from freaking Starbucks that you find super attractive and has a bunch of guys talking to her? What makes you what
Yeah,
what
who is Cassidy from
what
Starbucks?
makes you think that she
If
wants
there's a
you?
Cassidy from Starbucks who watches this video,
Just know Sahan wants you. No, I'm joking. Here's like, I think honestly though, the 6 foot thing is changing.
Yeah, it is. I
And
think it is.
I think over time, like people will be a little less picky on the height. I know there's obviously like those.
I've literally, okay, sorry to cut you off, but I think when we watched well, you were there for Fall Guy, right? When we watched Fall Guy, bro, there was a 6'4" curly hair woman with like a 5'6" guy. I'm not kidding you. That was the first time in my life where I seen like a super tall girl with like a short guy. I was like, that's
you mean
crazy.
like acting in the movie, or
No,
they
they
came
were
to watch the
watching
movie?
the movie like as a couple, like in the lower row. I was like, what the hell?
But I
Crazy.
think if you're a 6'4"
Cool.
girl, like
Kinda
finding a
yeah,
taller guy is so hard.
It's tough.
Like it's so hard. And sorry, I'm just gonna finish what I was saying before. I think if you look at it before too, a lot of the famous celebrities that you'd see around were pretty tall, right? Like your Superman, whatever,
Like 6'3".
whoever,
Yeah.
right?
Tall as
But
fuck.
I think the ideal celebrity, like someone's ideal celebrity is changing, right? And I remember we had this debate a lot of the time. Like not really a debate, but it was like it happened, right? You know how that the BTS guy got voted as
over Henry Cavill. Yeah.
as the best looking guy in the world, right?
Oh, was he?
Yeah, I
It
think
happened like 2 years ago though.
it happened a
Yeah,
couple
it
years
happened a
ago.
couple years ago.
But it's like when you look at BTS, right? They're more like
Yeah, they're boyish. They're more feminine, yeah.
they're very boyish, right? And even like a lot of people's celebrity crushes nowadays, Neymar Jr., right?
Mhm.
Central C, whoever. None of them are all, sure they have features.
they aren't like
they do have good looking features, but it's not like they
overtly masculine.
give off that masculinity.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that's why, like, that's kind of my idea as to why 6 foot, like being over 6 foot is kind of changing.
Yeah, but I think
I think preference is preference.
Yeah,
Like,
preference
there's
is
a lot of
preference,
girls
for
who
sure,
say
yeah.
that, my man must be above 6 feet tall, and then there's like, so many girls
yeah,
who
I think
don't
most
care.
girls
They
actually
say-
don't. Yeah.
I think
most
there's
girls don't,
genuinely
yeah.
people out there who don't care
No,
about your
a
physical
lot of girls
appearance, and they
don't
kind of
care.
just go off of how you think and what your
Literally,
personality
yeah.
is like. And I
Literally.
think that's pretty fair because
Literally, yeah.
you don't obviously always want to go for physical appearance, and I don't
Yeah.
think a girl's gonna do that either. If you're above 6 feet tall and you don't have anything else going for you, like
Yeah,
that's gonna.
Yeah, I know. So I was gonna say for the masculine thing, I think a lot of it's biased towards because I don't know if this is true or not, but I think that most younger women tend to like more feminine looking guys these days. But if you ask like our moms, for example, or like people our mom's age, like 40 plus, 35 plus, middle aged women, they will tell you like, oh, you'll ask them like who's attractive, and they'll say Tom Cruise,
With the
Henry
Roshan.
Cavill. Yeah, they'll say like masculine men. So I think what happens is when you're younger women, you tend to like more boyish looking, people like super low body fat, less muscle, like sharp jawline, but like more looking more boyish. But like as you get older, you kind of like the beard look. You like someone who's like more muscular,
No, for
a
sure.
bit taller, like a deeper voice. Like for example, right? I think like Timothy Chalamet, right? Great actor, but he's a bit more boyish in his look, right? Compared to like a Henry Cavill, like we talked about him before, right? Or Ben Affleck, right? I promise you, the girls who dig Timothy Chalamet are going to be like 16 to like 20,
The average
20
age.
27, right? Whereas people who dig like Ben Affleck are going to be like 35 plus, for 100% guarantee it, right? So I think that's kind of what that is, and yeah. So I think we just have to in general just curb our expectations because like you were saying with the height thing too. I see a lot of couples who are like the same height or like the difference is like an inch or two. Like I don't see like of course I see the occasional couple that's like super different, but it's like honestly the most people I see tend to be within like the same ish range, like plus 3 or 4 inches of height. Like it's not a big difference. So I don't think women at all, like most women, though you see it online, I don't think a lot of women actually care that like they probably care, like, oh, that guy should be taller than me, but like I don't think it has to be 6 foot. Like because most women are like 5'4", right? So it's not like it's a big deal.
What do you guys think is the most masculine actor?
masculine appearing actor.
appearing.
Gordon
Mm,
Drago.
who?
Gordon Drago. Oh, he's not an actor though, is
He's
he?
an actor. Oh
I don't know
yeah,
if he's an
he's a
actor.
looks master, mogger.
I think he is the Mogger, right? He's the
Yeah,
Mogger.
he could.
Remember Chico. Who's the Mogger?
To Google
Was he
this. I
not?
know
Was
this
he not a
Alex does.
Batman? No, I think he did act.
Drago?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go check that real quick.
I
Hold
think
on.
he was either Batman or Superman.
I'll check that real quick.
But he looks very masculine. So does Henry Cavill.
Sorry, I'm just googling this guy. I think I'm not gonna lie. In terms of what I've seen, this guy's probably the most masculine
Who,
guy.
Gordon Drago?
No.
Henry Cavill.
No, I forgot his name. I'm looking. I'm checking right now. Jason Statham.
Oh, that guy. Jason Statham?
Yeah, Statham.
Oh, okay, interesting. Okay, interesting.
I think he's very manly. I'm not gonna masculine.
Yeah. Oh no, yeah, he was in movies, but not like.
Was he not? Was he not a Batman or something? Or am
I think you're
tripping?
confusing with Ben Affleck. They look
No,
so
no. Maybe it was what's that other guy's name? He kind of looks like him. He was like talking with Chico. You know the guy with blue eyes?
Jordan Barrett.
No, the other one.
Well, we could just put a
Sorry.
picture up. Whoever it is, we'll
Yeah.
find out. And we'll put
Or
a
maybe
picture
I'm tripping.
Yeah.
But
But yeah,
is looks maxing cringe?
Okay. So looks maxing as it is on TikTok is cringe because why are you obsessing over like? Look, I also admire healthily. And Chico Lachowski is a very beautiful man. He's very good looking. We all can admit that. It's like, what is with the obsession with trying to look like? What is the obsession with trying to have Hunter eyes, superstar? Like, bro, it's like, listen, there's only so
I
much
swear you had an obsession over that.
Yeah, I mean, it was mostly a joke though. Like, no one takes that seriously.
bro was like, yo, I have hunter eyes. These guys have hunter eyes. I'm still trying to figure out if these guys. I remember
feel like that was silent for like a whole 2
I was
months.
literally like that. And
Yeah,
I was like,
yo, these guys are Hunter eyes or not. So it's like,
I think though, like, there's absolutely nothing wrong with a person trying to better
of
themselves
course.
and like improve themselves. But the point where it's cringe, like I said, is when you start obsessing over it and making it your entire personality. Like if you're somebody who just constantly can't stop talking about looks maxing and kind of
you're cooked.
brings it up in
You're so
every conversation you have, and all you think about is your A10 hunter eyes, which you don't have, and your receding hairline. Like it's just becomes super weird when you make it your personality. But
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with trying to improve
Yeah.
yourself, like being
make
a better
yourself,
person.
mewing and stuff.
Yeah, like listen, like mewing actually isn't a bad thing. It's actually
it's
healthy
not.
for you because it's
It's
a
not.
proper tongue posture. Like you should be breathing through your nose. And I will admit, like I wear mouth tape at night, and I actually do have a nose tape at night, and it helps me actually recover. Like I noticed my cardio now has gotten better because I can breathe more. I can intake more oxygen through my nose now, which helps me. So those things are helpful. But like when you obsess over like, yo, I gotta look like Chico Lachowski, or I'm cooked. It's like, bro, I promise you, women don't care. how
Dude,
much.
there's a few people on TikTok who made so much money off of this.
Oh,
Like
when it first blew up,
it was
100%,
literally a
100%.
trend made so that like those apps like the Umax one where you take
Yeah.
a picture and they
AI.
see like
Yeah,
they
the AI.
scan your face and
Yeah,
see how
yeah.
like attractive you are.
Yeah,
This trend on TikTok, so many, not so
Young
many, but there's a
guys.
few people. There's like a group of people who made so much money off of this, so much
Yeah.
money off of you being super insecure
the
about your looks
master-
in the mirror. Like
yeah.
always remember, like if there's something going on like this, like just like large companies will have you thinking that you look ugly, you have so much acne on your face. There's always someone benefiting from this, right? There's
Yeah.
always somebody making money off of this. So you got to understand that, like, even though you're trying to be that guy who's like the top mogger looks maxer, but you don't gain anything from it, there's somebody gaining off from you.
Yeah.
acting
Yeah,
like
literally.
that.
Yeah.
Say it's just sad, man. Like you can improve yourself, but the obsession is what gets me. And it's also like the amount of people I've seen make money, like you said, like they sold the gums that you chew on. It's like,
Yeah.
but that doesn't grow your bones. Like, if
A
anything,
lot of it's bullshit too.
yeah, like all it does maybe have your jaw muscles like just show, but it won't make a huge difference. Like people think they're gonna get that 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 Mr. Chin guy from Timothy our parents, the dude with the big chin.
Oh yeah.
They think you're gonna be like that. You're like, it's like, bro, the most that happens maybe if you, and again, people forget it's like the only way you have a sharp jawline, unless it's like, first of all, you have the bone structure for it, and most people do. And again, if you don't,
Space fat.
you probably are a mouth breather. Like that's true. Like if your things recessed, you almost always breathe through your mouth, 100%. Like I say it all the time, right? So if you don't breathe through your mouth, you probably have a jawline in place. Just lose body fat. You'll see it. Like it's just that simple. and honestly, losing body fat might just be the one trick pony looking better. Like I promise you, if someone asks me how do I look better, have a better face, it's like just lose body fat, maybe get a better hairstyle, and then like try and have more clear skin. Those three things would probably increase your attractiveness by like maybe 3 points. Like if you're a 4 out of 10 right now, probably go to a 7 out of 10. Like I'm not even kidding. So
I feel like as a guy, if you're a 4 out of 10, supposedly, and like if you think you're a 4 out of 10, there's so many ways you can improve yourself. A 4 out of 10, if he's making like $1 million a year,
6, 7 or 10.
he's immediately bumped up. You know, like, and then give him a good personality, gives him
8.
right.
8.
Yeah.
So
Like Pete Davidson.
And like even looks wise, you could also always make yourself look better. Too,
100%.
right?
how is Pete Davidson pulling?
And again, listen, he's not ugly, but he isn't a looker. Like I'm not gonna lie, Pete Davidson isn't like the hottest guy in the world, but he's not ugly, but he's not like he's average, right? But it's like he gets so many good looking women. It's like I promise you guys, if you're gonna look up to anybody, it's gonna be Pete Davidson. Don't look up to Chico Lachowski in the way that you are, because Chico's a good person. Like he's a cool guy, but you guys are looking up to him for the wrong reasons. Like you look up to him because he has A1 hunter eyes.
Bro, I saw a TikTok where it's like, I met Michael Jordan, and then the next guy's like, I met Messi, and then the last part of it was I met Chico,
it's
acting like it's a bigger accomplishment than meeting
two of the greatest players in sports. You know,
Come on, bro. Like, why are you comparing Chico to Michael Jordan, bro?
yeah.
Stop.
So it's like, listen, if you're gonna look up to somebody, look up to Pete Davidson because his personality allows him to be able to connect and have relationships with all these beautiful women. I promise you, that's
Is he really a chill guy though?
I mean, he has to be. He's funny as hell. Like he's funny, bro. Funny guy, and I think that's why. Because I remember talking to some of my girlfriends about it. It's like
Some of us.
It's like some of your girlfriends, like
Some of
with
his
an S plural.
no, like my girls who are
Explain,
friends.
elaborate.
and I'm like, do you find Pete Davidson attractive? Like, yeah. And I'm like, why? It's because like he's funny. He's a cool. I think that's it. I think I'll touch on this more in the next episode on what I think about why that's a thing. But I think it's a good place to end off. I think
Yeah,
we've,
let's close it off right here.
And that was nice,
Yeah.
Great podcast. It was a pleasure. Thank you guys for listening. And
If you guys like these episodes, we upload once every week.
No,
Actually,
we-
two times a week.
Thursdays and
starting
Saturdays.
now.
Thursdays and Saturdays.
Let us know in the comments what you think about
Yeah.
it, and until next time.
follow, subscribe, like, whatever. Later.